There is a widespread debate about whether or not school-age children should be required to wear uniforms within public school systems. Debates are typically heavy for one side or the other, and children, of course, are rather opinionated on the topic. While I must admit, as a teenager, I was strongly against these types of mandates within schools. But as an adult, I now see the benefits that may come about from them. As I was growing up, I attended an elementary school that required basic school uniforms. The uniforms included khaki or navy blue bottoms and either a red, white, or blue top. The uniform wasn't too particular, but nonetheless wearing them was a requirement. Middle school, grades 6 through 8, was my first experience of being allowed to wear what I liked. At that age, I strongly favored this new freedom of dress code and embraced it fully. But the school system that I attended at the time was in the middle of this hot-headed debate and decided for the first time since the opening of the school to mandate school uniforms within my 8th grade year. This shift in dress code policies definitely made me rather upset, and again, looking back on it and further analyzing the topic, as an adult, I can fully understand and agree with the position of a uniform dress code for every year of school. Let's first take a look at both sides. We will discuss the variances of emotional, behavioral, academic, and financial effects of the dress code policy debate. Emotional. Emotional effects are typically the biggest reason as to why people are against mandated uniforms within public schools. As I stated before, because these requirements are placed upon the students themselves, they are usually the ones that are strongly against it. Individuals feel as though being allowed to wear whatever you'd like in school is a part of self-expression and finding one's identity. The argument to this is that, yes, students are stripped of their right to be expressive, but typically the uniforms have small areas of play where students can wear different versions of them. Psychologists have found that grouping occurs in any situation, yet more so within the school setting. This means that students are passing judgment on who's cool and who's not based upon what their attire consists of, rather than personality and other important characteristics. Mandating uniforms almost forces the students to group as a whole school body rather than small cliques within the school. This can increase their pride in school and can potentially increase their involvement in school activities, which has always showed statistical increases in various academic-based factors. Other arguments state that uniforms hinder students from knowing how to interact with those that are socially outcast in the future. While I believe that when uniforms are set in place, the entire idea of judgment being passed on who is deemed acceptable to talk to or how to go about it is diminished. Behavioral. Behavioral concerns are an even larger debate for school uniform policies. Many public schools choose to adopt dress code regulations because of the improvements they can see on campus in behaviors and reduction in crime. Mandating uniforms ensures that students who are involved with any type of gang affiliation no longer are allowed to represent certain mixes of colors that indicate gang involvement. This alone can decrease violence within schools, especially those with problems in this area. Also, if students are dressed the same, everyone looks the same, so no judgments can be placed upon who comes from a wealthier or poorer family. This can decrease bullying, which over the last decade has become much more prevalent among young children than ever before. The only counter-argument that individuals have towards behavioral issues is that there has been no direct statistical link to uniforms preventing gang affiliations or bullying. Decreases have been marked, but again, there is simply no way to outright prevent these types of behaviors amongst children. Lastly, studies have indicated that students within schools that have uniform policies have a greater understanding of respect throughout their school year, while the counter-argument is that administration may cross the line in terms of authority, which can bring about a whole other host of concerns within schools. Again, no drastic statistical values have ever been presented for either side of this argument. Academics. When children are more focused on their actual studies rather than who is wearing what and wasting time on trying to fit in, they can then redirect their focus and concentration on their academics. As we stated earlier, school involvement also increases academics in any school, so allowing students to identify with one another as a whole will offer them a school body and group feeling of being a part of something, thus increasing grades. School principals report an increase in school unity, which increases the students' motivation to do well. When students are less concerned about their style of dress and apparel, they are also less likely to not want to attend class, meaning that uniforms have the ability to increase attendance in schools. Middle and high school girls in a study of a large urban school district in Texas saw a 7% increase in attendance rates after a uniform policy was implemented. Lastly, the financial end of things. We have continuously discussed the effects of clothing and what that has effects on popularity, clicks, and judgments within schools. One has to also consider the rising cost of such designer clothing and how expensive this can be on parents that aren't poverty-ridden, let alone families that are. Arguments against financial concerns actually state that uniforms are an additional expense outside of regular clothing needing to be purchased for children, which places a larger burden on parents in the long run. I believe that it is merely the style of mandated uniforms that determines this. Yes, if the uniform is one of a fancier style, similar to those of private schools that bear the school logo, team mascot, or other decals, then yes, these types of uniforms may become pricey. But if the school allows room for variances in the uniform, similar to the dress code that I had in elementary school, it can actually be very cost effective. In the school that I attended, we simply needed to wear navy blue or khaki bottoms. As a girl, they could be pants, shorts, or skirts, paired with either a red, white, or blue collared shirt. This type of uniform is amongst the most typical and can be purchased at discount stores or even found at thrift shops. And truth be told, as a kid, I was usually in my school uniforms all day. So the only need for additional clothing was for weekends, special occasions, and summertime. A 1998 study in USA Today reported that parents spend less on uniforms than clothes for school. However, a 2007 study in USA Today found that some parents pay significantly more for uniforms than regular clothes for their children. Thus, the conclusions are unclear as well on this factor. Studies of school uniforms and their long-term effects on individuals are just beginning to populate. As with many studies, for every positive report, there's another report that shows little or no positive results from implementing mandated school uniforms within public schools. I believe that every school district, city, town, and area are different, and both parents and school officials should be mindful of their specific location and demographic before deciding if adopting a school uniform policy will be beneficial. Children are becoming more and more adult-like in their behavior at earlier and earlier ages as time progresses. So I do believe that simply mandating dress codes based upon requiring shorts to be a certain length, shirts to be non-embellished with suggestive decals, shirts revealing too much, and pants sagging too low is simply not enough. I see no true harm that can result from children taking school serious, focusing on their studies at earlier ages, and disregarding any desire for bullying or judging from peer to peer. You are there to learn. If mandating school uniforms in public schools has even a small chance of increasing this concept, then I am all for it. I guess in the end, the decision to place your children in schools that have uniform policies or don't is your decision. But please do make sure to consider all of the pros and cons before making the final selection. Thank you.